The man who helped save millions of lives during World War II was later treated as a criminal by the very country he helped save. For decades, almost no one knew what he had accomplished because the work that changed history remained locked behind government secrets. By the time the world finally learned his story, the man himself was already gone. His name was Alan Turing, and if history had unfolded just a little differently, the world you live in today might have looked very different. At the beginning of the Second World War, Nazi Germany possessed a weapon unlike any other. It wasn't a bomb, a tank, or an aircraft. It was information. Every military order, every naval command, and every strategic decision was sent through a remarkable encryption device known as the Enigma machine. To the Germans, it was more than just a machine. It was a guarantee that their secrets would remain untouchable. Millions upon millions of possible settings transformed ordinary messages into meaningless strings of letters, and because the settings changed every single day, even yesterday's solution became useless by midnight. The Allies could intercept these transmissions, but reading them seemed impossible. As German U-boats prowled the Atlantic, supply ships disappeared beneath the waves. Soldiers died without warning, and entire operations failed because nobody knew what the enemy was planning. Many believed the war could not be won unless Enigma was broken. The real question was whether anyone alive was capable of doing it. Far away from the front lines, hidden within a quiet English estate called Bletchley Park, Britain's greatest minds gathered in absolute secrecy. Mathematicians worked beside linguists, engineers collaborated with chess champions, and cryptographers chased patterns that seemed determined never to be found. Among them was a young mathematician who hardly resembled the image of a wartime hero. Alan Turing wasn't charismatic, loud, or politically connected. He was intensely curious, often lost in thought, and happiest when solving problems that everyone else considered impossible. Conversations could feel awkward, but mathematics seemed to come to him as naturally as breathing. While others stared at the Enigma machine as an unbreakable puzzle, Turing looked at it differently. If humans couldn't test millions of possibilities quickly enough, perhaps a machine could. It sounded almost absurd. Computers, at least in the modern sense, didn't exist. The idea of building a machine capable of helping humans solve an impossible mathematical problem belonged more to imagination than reality. Yet Turing believed that impossible problems often demanded impossible ideas. Convincing others wasn't easy. Time was disappearing. German submarines continued sinking Allied ships, and every failed day meant more lives lost in the Atlantic. There was no guarantee that Turing's idea would work, and there certainly wasn't time to waste. But eventually, his determination won people over, and work began on a remarkable machine unlike anything the world had ever seen. It was called the bomb. The bomb didn't magically decode messages. Instead, it eliminated impossible combinations at incredible speed, allowing Turing's team to search through an astronomical number of possibilities far faster than any human could. The machine thundered day and night, filling rooms with the sound of rotating drums and electrical switches, while the race against time never stopped. Because every midnight, the Germans changed the Enigma settings. That meant every morning the entire process had to begin again. Imagine solving the world's hardest puzzle, only to discover that someone had completely changed the puzzle overnight. That was the reality facing Turing's team every single day. Success yesterday meant absolutely nothing today. Then, one day, after endless failures and months of relentless work, everything changed. The machine stopped. No one celebrated. Instead, silence filled the room. Had it actually found the correct settings, or was it simply another dead end? Carefully, the team tested the result against intercepted messages. One by one, meaningless letters transformed into understandable German sentences. Orders, coordinates, naval movements, military plans. For the first time, Britain could read some of Germany's most closely guarded secrets. It was one of the greatest intelligence breakthroughs in military history. But victory brought a terrible new dilemma. If the Allies acted every single time they read an Enigma message, Germany would eventually realize its supposedly perfect code had been broken. Once that happened, years of work would become worthless overnight, so unimaginable decisions had to be made. Sometimes commanders deliberately ignored information they already possessed. Convoys sailed into danger. Military operations continued without warning. Lives that might have been saved were sacrificed because protecting the larger secret would ultimately save far more people. It was a burden that haunted many of those involved, including the men and women working quietly inside Bletchley Park. Their greatest success had become a secret they could never reveal. As the war continued, Turing and his colleagues kept decoding German communications, providing intelligence that influenced battles across Europe and the Atlantic. Historians now believe their work shortened the war by as much as 2 years and saved millions of lives. Yet while soldiers returned home as heroes, the people at Bletchley Park signed documents promising lifelong silence. Alan Turing couldn't even tell his family what he had spent the war doing. When peace finally arrived, most people expected technology to return to ordinary life. Turing, however, was already thinking far beyond the war. While others saw calculating machines, he imagined something extraordinary. He wondered whether a machine could one day imitate human thought itself. At a time when computers filled entire rooms and possessed less power than a modern calculator, the idea sounded almost unbelievable. That simple question eventually gave birth to ideas that shaped modern computer science and artificial intelligence. Decades before smartphones, the internet, or AI assistants existed, Alan Turing was already asking questions that engineers and scientists are still exploring today. It should have been the beginning of an extraordinary new chapter. Instead, it became the darkest period of his life. In 1952, Alan Turing was prosecuted under British law because he was gay. The same nation that had relied upon his genius during its darkest hour now viewed his private life as a crime. Rather than celebrating one of its greatest scientific minds, Britain stripped away his security clearance and forced him to endure medical treatment that caused profound physical and emotional suffering. The contrast is almost impossible to comprehend. A man whose brilliance had helped defeat one of history's most dangerous regimes was no longer trusted by the country he had served so faithfully. Just 2 years later, Alan Turing died at the age of 41. For decades afterward, his greatest achievements remained hidden behind classified government files. The public knew little about Bletchley Park, the bomb, or the enormous role Turing had played in changing the course of the war. Only when those secrets were finally released did the world begin to understand the scale of what had happened inside that quiet English mansion. Recognition came slowly, but it eventually arrived. Alan Turing is now celebrated as one of the founding fathers of computer science. His ideas continue to influence artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, and modern computing. His face appears on the Bank of England's 50-pound note. His life has inspired books and films, and in 2013 he received a posthumous royal pardon from the British government. Yet perhaps his greatest legacy isn't a machine, an equation, or even a wartime victory. It is the reminder that history is often shaped by people who never stand in the spotlight. While generals commanded armies and politicians delivered speeches, a quiet mathematician sat in a room filled with humming machines, solving a problem that many believed could never be solved. Millions of people who never knew his name lived because of decisions he helped make. The computer on your desk, the smartphone in your pocket, and the artificial intelligence transforming the modern world all owe something to the questions Alan Turing dared to ask. Sometimes history's greatest heroes aren't the ones the world applauds in their own lifetime. Sometimes they're the ones whose brilliance remains hidden for decades, quietly changing the future until history is finally ready to tell their story.